The way European governments are talking about Syrians right now is just showing how utterly sick our politics has become. It has been literally 2 days since the rebel army reached Damascus and Bashar al-Assad was deposed. And it has been so beautiful to see the joy of Syrians around the world, in Syria and in all the countries where they have sought safety from that brutal, horrific, psychopathic regime. My heart has been so warmed hearing Syrian friends talk for the first time in the 10 years that I've known them about going home, about how beautiful their home is. And we have seen videos, footage from the liberation of Assad's political prisoners that defies description. The horror I never could have imagined. Men, women, and little children who have been locked up in these torture cells for their entire lives. We saw emaciated, frail bodies of people coming out from underground cells where they had been held in some cases for decades. It is impossible to see these images and not be reminded of images of the liberation of the concentration camps of Nazi Germany. And for every joyful Syrian family that is reunited with somebody that they didn't know if they had lived or died, who had disappeared into one of those cells, there are 1,000 who never made it out of Sednaya prison or other prisons and torture chambers across Syria. Every Syrian family is celebrating today, but also mourning for the people and loved ones that never got to see their country liberated. And at the same time, this is a moment of immense uncertainty as well as a moment of joy. We don't know what the future holds for Syria. There's no way to be certain that HTS will respect the rights of minorities, of women, and so on, and to govern in a democratic and peaceful way. But even if we could know that, Syria is still being bombed by Israel. It is still in large part under occupation. There is a huge amount of uncertainty and instability to come for Syria. And Syrians know this better than anyone, and they can celebrate, rightfully so, but they still know the dangers that are coming ahead. And this is why the European response is so disgusting, because European governments have taken this opportunity to immediately suspend Syrian asylum claims and, in some cases, to start talking about repatriation. Now, as I said, it is beautiful to me to hear my Syrian friends talk about the possibility of returning home. But that is what it is. It is now a hope, now a possibility, now something that could happen. It would be absurdly, insanely premature for that to happen ever on a forced basis, but suddenly 2 days after the fall of the regime on a forced basis. It is an insane place for our conversation to be at the current time. And the fact that our conversation is here, when we can see these images of people being freed from torture chambers, which the refugees who have found safety in our countries, this is what they have found safety from. This is what they have escaped from. This is what we protected them from by allowing them to come here. And I say allowing them to come here, I shouldn't even say that. We should be taking this moment to mourn the Syrians who drowned in the Mediterranean because we refused to give them a safe way to travel, to escape from this regime that we are now seeing the true extent of its depravity. We should be giving penance for every Syrian life that was lost in the escape. We created incredibly dangerous ways for people to have to escape that. And now we have reaped immense benefits. Having Syrians living among us for the last decade and more has been hugely beneficial to Europe. Germany itself has, 14,000 Syrian doctors now? This is an immense benefit that we have reaped for our European societies by offering this sanctuary. And it was offered at such a deadly price. It is something that we must reflect on, what it has meant to us to be a place of safety. And now, the only conversation our politicians are interested in having and our media wants to have is about whether or not and when we can get rid of people again. This is sick. This speaks to a fundamental sickness in Western society.